look at that, eh? So stylish. He just creased the board. Here we are. Yeah, Jono. Good to see you joining us. Welcome, everybody. Stoked to be here. This is a Stoked Bloke special live presentation to celebrate the career of Kelly Slater, really, to watch this heat of his against Barron Mamiya. You really don't know when will be his last heat ever. My good mate here, Jamie Mitchell, 10-time Molokai to Oahu paddleboard champion and really the GOAT of paddleboarding, big wave champion, host of the Late Drop podcast, and he's going to help me break it down.
Speaking of the GOAT.
There we are. We see Kelly there on the edge at the keyhole, getting ready to paddle out for his heat against Barron Mamiya, young Hawaiian guy. We're coming to you from Sunset Beach, from my shed in the backyard here at Sunset Beach on Oahu. Barron Mamiya grew up in this area and is an incredible surfer in good waves, and the waves are pumping.
Firing.
Absolutely
firing.
Yeah, it's in that, 6 to 8 foot range. The wind's beautifully offshore. You guys have been watching it, I'm sure. Jeff Mucky, our neighbour just around the corner. Good to see you joining us, mate. And stoked to have people joining us from all around the world. And the idea here really is to celebrate Kelly Slater tonight and look at his career and watch this heat and watch how he surfs it. Barron Mamiya is a kid who has so much potential. So this, to us, when I looked at this heat, I thought this is the heat of the round.
Yeah, and two guys that love to put it on rail. We've seen, I think Kelly's the most winningest surfer at Jbay. I think he has 4 titles. And you've seen Barron, he's just so powerful and basically got himself to this point by winning Sunset Beach.
That's right.
You know, just ripping.
And Kelly's made his career at Pipeline, and the heir apparent in a lot of people's minds is Barron Mamiya. So it's sort of the up and coming, and then the guy who has been there forever.
And that's what Kelly likes, right? He likes that challenge. He's always spoke about going up against John at Pipeline, and that's what feeds his ego. You know, I mean, his competitive ego, his spirit, his fire. I think what gets him to the party.
Yeah. And tell me, that's what I was having Jamie here, who is a multiple champion and successful in that same degree. I know Kelly called you the greatest unknown athlete in the world. What is it, do you think, that keeps him going, keeps him coming back? I mean, we talked about it earlier today, didn't we?
Yeah, we were taking our daughter and son surfing at Lani's, and we were talking about, like, why didn't Kelly just walk away at Pipe?
Yeah.
You know, what is it? And obviously it's the competitive, he's just a monster in the competitive area. He obviously still loves it. He obviously still thinks that he can win at certain places. You know, let's be honest, he's probably not thinking he's going to go to Rio and win. But put him at Pipe, put him at conditions like this at Jbay, he probably fancies himself, you know. Yeah. And I just, you know, and we talked about board design, like, you know, the way that he's really just gone in different area in board design. I think that gets him up as well, you know. So board design, I think, getting off on beating these young kids, I think gets him up as well, you know. He's a bit of a sicko in the head.
And it gets us up too, the fact that he is still going. He surfed heats against me, for God's sake, and look at me now.
I think I do it to like Tiger Woods, right? I don't necessarily like golf, but when Tiger Woods is in the hunt on the last 18 at Augusta on a Sunday, you watch. Yeah, you know, and like when Kelly's in good waves and he's in the hunt, whether you like him, hate him, or, you know, you want to watch, you know, and I think that's what he brings to this sport, is that he's a generational athlete.
Generational, all right. He's been through my generation, through his own generation, through the Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson, Andy Irons generation, and now still there against...
What is it? Is it 4 decades?
Close to, well, he's, 50 years old. He's been competing since he was 15 or whatever, so he's been around an extraordinarily long time. And his heat's about to start. Now, the thing that I always like to look at when I'm watching a heat is that early heat positioning and where they sit in relation to each other. And if I'm Barron Mamiya, I'm taking Kelly's inside. There's no way I'm letting Kelly have that inside position sitting there subservient to Kelly, because if you want to signal to Kelly Slater that there's a changing of the guard or that you're the old bloke and I'm the young guy coming through, you've got to start early and you've got to start putting that pressure on right from the beginning of the heat. So I'll be super interested as we see Kyle Belly there waiting for scores to drop. And we haven't seen an 8-point ride yet today. Griffin Colapinto got a 7.83, and that's kind of as close as we've got. Felipe, Miguel, Italo all winning those early heats. And looks like Kyle Belli doing the same thing. So 4 straight for the Brazilians.
Yeah.
And there's the scores waiting there, and not enough for Jake Marshall. So Kelly Slater, I can't wait to see the lineup and see exactly where he's sitting, what Barron's doing, how he's playing the game right out of the blocks.
And a beautiful point to go to here is I was watching the Make or Break series, and Kelly was talking to young kids about the importance of getting that first wave and getting the first high score, how it puts you in rhythm, how you can sit out the back, and generally speaking, like you just get a good head start of that heat and take that heat out. So interesting to see if Kelly goes out and does what he says and waits for, battles for that first good set wave and gets a good score.
And in reality, I suppose they're in the lineup now while we go into ads and we kind of lose those early moments. It's already going on now, the positioning. There's people that, like John Florence, who is happy to let someone have his inside position, let the priority sort itself out, and just let his surfing do the talking. But when you're against Kelly Slater, he's a confidence guy, and when it starts building, I'd always really want to get in there early and start ruffling his feathers early. So for me, that would be the right strategy for Barron, and just make it known that, hey, I'm here to play.
And BL, just a question for you: is that how you started your heats when you're in the peak of your career? Was like you were not giving up the inside?
I wouldn't give up the inside no matter what. And if there is an advantage to be taken and literally given to you by your opponent or by your positioning and your strategy at the start of the heat, to actually go straight for that inside, I would ordinarily paddle out first. We see Kelly there in the ad. I would paddle out first, get that and paddle up the point, so that when Kelly comes out of that keyhole, I'm up the point from him, and he's got to paddle to me and challenge him to see if he wants that inside. Yeah. And sometimes, particularly at the back end of your career, fighting for a heat in that way is not something you really want to do. And you've got 48 minutes in this, overlapping format, as we see him there just meditating. And I'd love to get Kelly. I've spoken to Kelly about being a guest on the Stoked Bloke podcast, and he's keen for that. So here we go. We've already had close to 4.5 minutes of this heat. Looking down, looks like no waves have been ridden yet. So we see Jadson in the priority heat. So another interesting thing too is that you've got those guys out there in the priority heat. The idea for me, Jamie, would be to try and win the first half and look at your heat in 2 halves, 2 24-minute halves, and try and win the first half without the priority. Griffin Colapinto got a 7.17, a 7.83 without priority. Yeah. So that shows there's waves out there.
Yeah, I really love seeing the guys without the priority heat. You see certain guys that know how to get waves in crowds, and they find waves underneath priority and make good scores out of them. And Griffin went out in the first 3 minutes, got that 7, and for me, from what I've seen in this contest right now, here's the informed surfer by far. The power, the rail surfing, just cat-like reflexes. Yeah. I haven't seen anyone surf better right now.
And here's Jadson on a sort of fatter-looking wave. Doesn't look like it's going to really stand up. He's only had that 5.33 and a 4.17, while, as Griff, we said, had those 2 big scores. Looking for Jbay down the inside into an extremely lengthy pig dog, trying to slow it down, get some cover, and then gets a lip on the head. Kelly Slater without the priority. Snaps out of the top. You know what? You talk to equipment. Yeah. What he was riding yesterday looked terrible.
This looks a lot better straight off the bat.
It was something I was going to say. Guaranteed he's riding a different board. Yeah. Because that board he rode yesterday, beautiful. Layback snap there. This board looks crisper, sharper. It looks a little wider, a little more buoyant on the wave face, where yesterday the board he was riding looked a little boggy and catchy through things, and finishes up down the inside. It's going to be great to see that one on the replay.
Some good confidence for Kelly. To get a good one under his belt. Board feels nice. Like you say, long heats today, so plenty of ways to be ridden.
Long heats. We've got an hour here on the live, so we figure we've got a little time at the end of their heat to wrap things up. We appreciate everyone joining us. We didn't really get to see those close shots of where they were positioning in the lineup, but now with Kelly with a score under his belt, and it could be a 5-5, something in that range. We'll have a look at the replay, but it's definitely something that was valuable and worthwhile going.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad he's on a sort of functional board, because we were on the way looking at some stuff today. We're like, wow, what sort of is he riding, And as we see, looks like Griffin up again.
Gone in, changed boards, snaps out of the top. He, Jack Robinson, Ethan Ewing, three of the just in the top 5, and it wouldn't sort of feel right. Oh, too late for that.
Yeah.
That was a weird little line he pulled into there.
Yeah, if I had to pick, Griffin, like I said, and then I think Ethan Ewing, like if a guy's style suits a wave, it's like saying Joel Parkinson, right? When you think of Joel and Jbay, it's just like Vegemite and butter, mate.
That's right. With a little avocado on the top.
Yeah, but Ethan Ewing, man, he's due. I feel like he's been very close this year, and he's due for a big performance, and maybe it's this week at Jbay.
And just that little bit of that aggressive rail driving power, it's like a little edge that could be needed to just take the judges and take the scores over that edge. And we see Louis having a look at the broken crease board, and
John
it looks so good underneath Griffin, so that's got to be disappointing.
Yeah, and what I love too about the overlapping heats, we've got it looks like a pretty consistent swell too today, BL, and there's just you really feel at the end of each heat the best surfer has won. There's plenty of opportunities, plenty of waves. You've got 40 minutes, you got nearly 50 minutes out there, and it's like if you're coming in, with a pretty bad performance, it's sort of on you. Yeah,
because there's plenty of opportunity. The sets have got 2-3 waves in them, so you're getting one. Whether you're in the priority heat or not, Griffin proved the point that there's a lot of opportunities in and around the primary heat. And Kelly Slater a 4.83, Barron Mamiya, we've got a 3.83 in for him. We didn't really see that ride. Be great to see the replay of Kelly Slater's ride too and break that down.
Sort of, you'd think they're going to be throwaways, right, by the end of this heat?
You would definitely think so. Yeah, absolutely, man. And good to see Kelly looking sharper, looking more confident on that board. And as you said, the way the rail was searing through the water definitely looked cleaner and more powerful.
And that he gets up when it's pumping. When waves are pumping, as we see a big set roll through right now. But Kelly, it seems to get him up and get him going when the waves are pumping.
He's mostly motivated by the waves, don't you think? Yeah. Talk to me about, being in that position where you've got something to lose. You've been in that position.
Yeah, it's like it's yours. It's like someone's trying to steal something from you, and you'll do anything in your power to keep it, and that's how I felt with paddling the Molokai. It was like, someone's going to have to come and take it from me, and I took that really personal, as we see I think Griffin.
Big wrapping cutback, lays the rail over into the white water. This is a big set, so it's broken out off the reef, and I imagine as it comes down the reef, it'll start to stand up more. Closes out there. He looked at that section coming up, decided not to go. And he'd had that wave before, so I don't imagine that he was all the way back up the point. That was one of them big sets, closed out on the guys out the back, and Griffin tagged it on the side, hoping for something while Jason had the Andre, but Jason had the Andre. That guy?
And it looks like it's, right now with these bigger sets to it, it's going to be one of those ones where maybe not the big ones are the best ones.
Yeah.
Maybe they're those medium ones that come and hit the reef perfectly. And, because we saw here, it looks like Barron actually chipped into this one, and it's sort of a little bit, they're a little bit fatter, right? They're not as steep as we see this thing start to hit the inside.
High lining it,
just
coming
really
around the section, but that's a long way to go for no score.
A lot of energy wasted, and as we see Jadson, old Jaddy
just got such a great backhand. When he first came on, his aerials were absolutely incredible. And it was at a point in time where the judges went back towards the rail turns and weren't, what was an 8 or a 9 in a heat all of a sudden became a 2 or a 3. And it really affected that generation of Brazilians at the time who were the aerial specialists, and they had to start to figure out their rail game. And Jaddy has been around a long time and just continues to adapt and adjust in such a great way.
And such a good guy. He's such a happy-go-lucky human. He just always got a smile on his face. And, we see him a lot at sunset. He comes and surfs sunset a lot when we're out there, and puts a lot of time out there. So
I was roasting in here, folks. I had to go get my Grommy's Rash Fest just so I can wipe the sweat off.
It's the beard.
It's the beard. It's hot and it's sweaty under there. 5-4-3 total. So let's have a look at his 2 scores. Barron Mamiya 3-8-3 and the 1-6-0. So nothing, and the 4-8-3 for Kelly. Nothing in that heat so far, and nothing's changed in the Griffin Jadson Andre heat. Griffin feels to me to look a little less tuned into this board. The other board, like you said, he looked like the best surfer in the event to us from that first round. Again, this morning on that board, it was looking loose out of the top, and the way he flared the tail was just so controlled and radical, but at the same time stylish. And when you snap a board mid-heat, it takes a lot to adapt. Here we go. It's the GOAT.
The GOAT, King Kelly.
And as you said, a smaller inside wave, but it might stand up, gets for that little vertical climb there to get up the whitewater. Oh, a little catch of the rail into the whitewater. You can see the ocean's got a little bump and lump on it today, hasn't it? It's not absolutely perfect on the wave face.
And I think it's the tide. Oh, Kelly. Woo! Double barrel. And then you just know his confidence is growing right now. And as we see a 50-foot-long roundhouse cutback. But I think the tide's changing, Bill. I think we're seeing the bottom of the tide right now, and I think that's you're seeing a little bit of a lump bump to it. Earlier it was pristine.
Oh, it looked pristine.
And now we're seeing just a little bit of the bigger swell, right? So we're getting those wash-throughs, low tide, sort of a combination for a little bit of lump and bump. And then I think as we see that tide start to fill in, it could start to pump again.
And it'll move it in onto that inside reef there, rather than letting it cap outside. Kelly paddling back out.
You got to think that in his mind, his double barrel again. It's probably not going to be a super high score, but just knowing Psyche, Kelly being busy, feeling his board out, and again, great to see him on that bigger board with the rail line.
And here's the replay. Beautiful first snap. Looking lively. You can see the body moving, springing up and down. That was one of those vertical foam climbs that he has turned into 360s at times. Yeah. There was a little catch there that wasn't perfect. And here on this inside, just a slower cut, like horizontal out of the top. Saw this section. Stands up tall. Maybe could have stalled even a little bit there and maximised a little bit more tube time out of that one. And into the cutty. Finishes it up on the inside. I tell you, he looks good.
Momentum.
Yeah, he's building that momentum, and it's going to be interesting to see where's this score come in at.
As the cliche says,
4.93. So
building a house.
Yeah, 4.93 again. Still a throwaway score, really. You would kind of look at that and go, well, I've ridden the whole length of the point twice. There's 9 minutes left in the first half, so to speak, and you want to be getting sixes.
I think, if you're looking at it, usually the benchmark is Kelly, but I think if you're looking, and especially now because we've got Griffin in this heat, I think you're looking at him, right? You're looking at what Griffin's doing. He seems to be so smooth. He's really, his back foot is heavy. He's surfing really heavy, really powerful, throwing lots of spray. And just for me as a fan, when I'm seeing him surfing, I'm loving it. It reminds me of a Parko.
Yeah, it's so smooth, it's so controlled. If he makes the final 5 and he gets to surf at his home break with the home crowd for a world title, that's going to be an amazing opportunity. And he's a young man. He's one of the nicest kids that I've ever had the opportunity to meet. He helped us this year. He coached, or should I say judged, the Blast Off Video Challenge for me. And they're a great, I suppose it speaks to the San Clemente as a surfing community. Incredible community, full of great people, and they all just live for surfing.
Yeah, he's got a good crew. His dad, Mitch, I've met, is a lifeguard and a teacher from San Clemente. He's obviously his brother Crosby's ripping. I think they're with him at the moment in Jbay. And then you got Tommy Witts, mate. Like, Tommy Witts is a great surfing mind. He's his coach. I think they gel well together. And I think that he's also, from what I'm hearing now, he's right into his meditation, getting into his space before he goes to surf. And whatever he's doing, it's working.
It's working.
So stay with it, Griff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's got, like you said, and Joel Parkinson was a massive influence on him, and you can see that in his surfing as we see Kyle Abelli there getting interviewed after a heat win. That's four from four for the Brazilians this morning, so a great start for them. Jadson could make it 5 from 5, but he's in a bit of a tough situation at this point in time, and still 7 minutes though. I suppose Jbay 2 waves in 7 minutes is possible.
Right on the cusp. Right on the cusp. Jet ski assist for sure. But yeah, Jadson's in a bit of a pickle. But
here we go. The next heat. Callum Robson against Jackson Baker. Here's your boy Griffin Colapinto pumping at the bottom. Nice, beautiful. Says that, like you said, that back foot heavy out of the top. If you're not quite driving the tail and really searing the rail, you just end up.
See how he looks so like committed and stuck to his board.
Yeah.
Whereas even Kelly's like, Kelly, it feels a little bumpy, a little flirty. Where he is just like, there's something about that he's got that little bit of a wider stance as well, as we see Jadson trying to get the backup score.
Look at the nice steep wall in front of him. It's funny, in the modern day, it's amazing how many times you see those white-watery, frothy second waves really cup out and barrel, and I thought he might have had a good opportunity there, but when you look at the energy, you look at the way that finishes, I feel like Jaddy's waved the flag already, and Griffin's in a solid position and winning the heat on his first half scores without improving in the second half. So that speaks to how many waves are out there and how many opportunities really there are, whether you're in the priority heat or not, if you pick the right waves.
Let's talk about the difference, Bill, about the attack, backside attack, forehand. Obviously, you're seeing Griffin, big, long roundhouses, sort of can get tight, but the backsiders can get really vertical. And
it seems in the modern day of being tight to the pocket, less being more. Here he is, Kelly Slater, smaller one, stalling for the tube, gets barreled. Is he coming through this? He's somewhere there. He had to do that. It was a smaller wave. Barron had the priority, worth having a go at it. And without length in that tube ride, he knows from the 4.93 that without the length, you're not going to get the score he needs.
Yeah, I think Kelly needs to get. Seems like he's on. You got the small, the medium, and the big. Kelly's been on the small. He hasn't quite got that medium, and I think the little extra push with that extra couple of feet on it will help him. I think he'll be able to really connect to those turns, and the barrel will open up a little bit more. So I'm excited to see him get that priority. We're in the priority heat now, and he can actually choose that that medium sized wave as we see Barron up and going.
Oh, nice clean face. Oh, a nice stomp of the back foot at the top there as he laid that arm in. Nice drive. You can see there's this energy in his surfing. It's got a little more sort of abandon and a radical edge to it that I think that's kind of that's what the judges want to see. That's what gets them excited. Stalls down the inside, another tube ride. It's a little runner, a little backdoor runner, straightens off as it closes out, jumps off the back, and that may very well be the best wave of the heat so far. Wasn't a fantastic wave, but they're not in the priority heat, so that makes sense. But the surfing was authoritative.
Yeah, and looks like he's known for riding super small boards, even at pipe. Looks like he's on a. If you're looking at comparing again to Griffin, but if you look, he looks like a bit more of a smaller board, and I think he's looking like just solid, but still a little twitchy.
Snaps out of the top. This is the replay, obviously. Another driving turn, throwing the spray, pumping his body, staying engaged, and it just goes flat here for that little bit. But there's the double up section. Not too much downtime, which was good. He didn't have to wait around for this too long at all. Gets well, that angle didn't quite make it as deep as it looked from the other angle. Here's the water angle. Don't you love just dropping in, positioning yourself for a tube ride?
I mean, how good is Jbay? God, how good is that wave?
I mean, as a goofy, I always looked at other places like G-Land, Desert Point, those type of waves as my favourites, and places I would dream of. This is the angle that really shows that depth in his tube ride, and that was that other angle kind of sold it short. So that angle there really showed that he got some good tube time. Going to be the best scorer of the heat so far. We're confident of that. We look at Kelly's 4.93. The only thing really, the surf, like you said, there was a little twitch to the surfing, which was his energy, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if he was able to...
heavy-footed as well.
I like that power in there.
Yeah.
That's what I like, is just when there's that aggression and they really stomp that back foot and give it some...
I think he's just raw. He's like this, he's like a punk rocker, and you just don't know what you're going to get. Is he going to stomp it? Is he, it's sort of like I like it. It's you don't know what he's going to do on the wave, and that's exciting. I think it must be exciting for the judges as well.
And he's a very, knowing Barron, not great, but I know Barron well, and we've done some sessions together, and he's a very balanced young man. The North Shore is can be a wild place to grow up. And he is a very balanced young kid. Respectful. And that's one of the things that you and I notice a lot growing, living here now is the way that the young kids respect their elders is a really powerful thing. And Barron's one of those guys that's got great mates. We saw some of his good mates, Kalar, Grace, and others over at Chopu today.
Yeah, Kalani Vieira was there. And
did you see that? Some crazy ones at Chopu today. Scary ones, and that Southern Ocean's kind of been on fire the last period of time.
Seems like there's been a borderline toe swell every 2 or 3 weeks hitting Tahiti all summer. So and we're about the South Shore of Oahu is about to get that in 3 days.
Yeah, we'll get those same swells. Takes about 3 days for those swells once they hit Tahiti to get up to here. So we see Griffin Colapinto with a minute to go, counting it down. With those 2 sevens, one of the highest scoring waves of the heats of the day. Looking at Felipe Toledo in the first heat was also super impressive. But
maybe hurt his shoulder, it looked like.
It did. He took a while. We saw Felipe Toledo on the inside just wear one, and he sat there for a good 5 minutes trying to get himself.
If you look at the way he fell, it was just like it makes you. It just wasn't nice.
And you're recovering. Jamie Mitchell joining me here, big wave rider, the winner of the only paddling event they've had at Nazaré. And it would seem that not too many people were keen to go back and do that again, but you loved it, eh?
It's just it's a challenge, mate. Yeah, I've always been up for a challenge, and Nazaré really is our ultimate challenge for not only towing but for paddling. But like anything in life, if the more you go there are that lineups you can make. The chaos you can make, light of it, and that's the challenge right there.
He can. Here's Griff on an insider. Heat's done. He knows he's got the win. It's a little victory lap to the shore. Chance to feel that board. It's looking good on this one, isn't it? It looks positive, looks connected under the feet, and looks very similar in width and the way the rail is driving to the board that he creased earlier.
Yeah, just that wideish stance he has is just, he's just so connected.
Jadson Andre, 11.03. Griffin, 15 points. So the first Brazilian not to win his heat this morning. Brazilians, have you stoked? Sending our love to you guys down there. Bon noite. Or is it bon dia? Maybe morning time. Look at this. Beautiful drive there as the WSL go to a break, and we're not going to be doing this all. See the style in that. So good. We're not going to be doing this all the time. This is not, we're not here to sort of poach on the WSL or whatever. The idea here is to celebrate great moments, and when we see those moments like Kelly Slater's heats, who knows how much longer we're going to get to watch the GOAT. So when we see these moments, we're going to jump on and share it with you guys on the live, and so far, so good.
I got a question, Bill, after today. I was just thinking about stuff, and I'm like, there's certain waves on tour that are generational that I feel like you get Oki and bring him back in his prime today.
Yeah.
And you get Tom Curran, obviously, right, 2 awesome examples. Yeah. But, apart from Felipe and his twirl, what he's done, but, generally speaking, you can bring them back from 20 years ago, and that surfing is relevant to right now, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Sort of like bells.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain spots, you know, and, you know, how good were those guys? Like, how good was, like, Oki and Tom Curran at Jbay?
Well, and to grow up as a kid with some dreams, you know, and go, hey, I'm going to be a world champion surfer, and look around at the field and go, Tom Carroll, he was kind of there those couple of years before us. And then Oki and Tom Curran, we all started that same year. And then Damien Hardman and Derek Ho. And the list goes on of these amazing surfers. And generationally, that generation I was a part of, I feel like will go down in history as one of the most competitive generations of all time, because so many of us got Martin Potter. Potts is going to join us on one of these too. I've had a chat to him, so it'd be great to have him join us as well. I want to I see Peter King there. I want to send a great thank you to Peter King and the A New Earth Project for helping us with the Stoked Bloke first preview show of this particular event. And we see that next heat in the water there. Callum Robson, Jackson Baker, two young Aussies.
Yeah, it's a bummer to see two sort of struggling Aussies, you know, have to go against each other. But, you know, Callum Robson on a tear, won the QS at Snapper, the Challenger at Snapper, and, you know, backing himself, you know, left the sponsor behind to back himself to try and, you know, to get a bigger sponsor. I like his style.
Yeah, I like his style. And when he's on the rail, as you said, he's a very underrated surfer. As we see a good set here. It's a little bit off the reef. Look at the one behind it. Big set coming through. Barron Mamiya on this one. Now they've got the priority, Kelly and Barron. Another snap off the top, a little drift of the tail. Needs this one to stand up on the inside, and it looks like it's about to do it. Oh, too deep.
Wow. That thing just shut down, no chance there. But I'd like to see that from start to finish. But again, Barron, he's just so raw and talented. It's just exciting to watch him on a wave. You know, it's you know, whether it's 8-foot pipe or, you know, putting big airs or big Jbay walls is, you know, one of those. And what he's done to, you know, to get himself, I think, from the start to be in the mix for a top 5, but he's also qualified for next year from getting a wild card in the Sunset. You don't see that very often.
And winning the event and thrusting yourself into a career. Here's a replay. Kelly Slater, he got a 5.4 on the last one. Waiting for this to stand up down the line. Nice snap out of the top into the tube. He's going to, I was about to say he's going to make it. He did make it, but it's not staying open down that inside. Looks a little sectiony.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's, as we see the replay of the Hawaiian Barron Mamiya, I'm wondering if it's that low tide dropping out that's making the difference right now.
Could be, and the size looks like it's just moved out in the last couple of heats, and off that inside bank, Barron carves a beautiful turn, comes around the corner. You saw the board kind of slide. You were talking about how he loves to ride small boards, and you saw it kind of sliding and drifting a little bit as he pulled into the tube there. Lost a little speed, but it didn't matter because that whole section closed anyway. And
I think, you know, like I just thought that come to my mind then is that, you know, this could really come down to wave selection heat. You know, like if you
always does
experience, you know, but you know, we're still sitting with Kelly and Barron. We're still sitting on 4s and 5s. The heat is. I feel like the next guy that strikes a big blow, you know, someone that gets that, you know, 6 or 7 is going to be in the box seat as we see Callum Robson. Yeah, it's a really important point in time, and using your priorities, banking your priorities is so important. Callum Robson just meandering his way down the line. Nice carve there. They're in the non-priority part of this, so they're in the first half of their 48-minute heat, and an unfortunate kind of ugly little finish there. Some good work done. First wave, get your feet in the wax, as they say. And you got to think Callum, maybe his first trip to Jbay. I'm not sure, but, you know, I think you can definitely tell the guys that have spent the time here, and maybe the ones that have been here, maybe they went there and been there for 2 weeks, but from what I hear, it was small. So now it's proper Jbay. This is their first chance in heats, actually, you know, surfing 6 to 8 foot. You know, it's hitting the reef differently. You're looking at the wave completely differently, you know. So a tough wave to learn on the fly.
And it really sort of highlights the mistakes, doesn't it? Because it's such a beautiful wall. The wall's just incredible. And if you make mistakes, they kind of stand out because you're just on this beautiful canvas, and any little catch, any little mistake just appears so obvious. and the judges can be really pointed on that. And that finish for Callum, a 2.5. So you surf your way all the way down the point for a 2.5. You got to figure that's a mistake. 5.4 for Barron, still the highest heat here, but Kelly's got the advantage in this heat ever so slightly. What is that? 0.53 from those couple of consistent fours. This next priority of Kelly's, he would be looking at this point in time. He knows that neither of those scores really count. And the 5.4 might be the only wave, at this point where you go, well, I could live with a 5.4 if I had to. Anything with a 4 at the start of it, like the 4.93, you don't want to live with that. That's got to go.
If you're Kelly and you're tuning into Kelly's brain right now, you're sort of thinking he's going, the next wave has to be the money one. It's got to be, and that's going to put the screws in the Barron, put some pressure on the Barron. And, knowing Kelly's mindset, he's got priority. He's going to look for that really nice mid-sized wave, maybe like what we're seeing on screen here.
A mistake with the priority and not getting a score to improve on those 2 4s would be a big mistake at this point in time. 16 minutes on the clock.
Ooh.
Paddling.
This looks like a nice wave.
Walling up for the goat. Drives off the bottom.
Ooh.
Threw some spray there. That was a beauty.
Nice flow into that turn.
What's he doing? Waiting. Here's a nice section. I thought I could have given that a little more. It was a bit conservative, almost. Beautiful carve. Best wave of the heat so far, Jamie?
Oh, yeah, he's got to finish it off.
Oh, beautiful finish there.
And I think we just called it, didn't we? He's got to wait for the medium-sized wave. He's got to make this one count, and he's going to put the pressure on Barron. And I think he's done all that. As he comes to the beach, he's probably going to either
take a fin or two out on the rocks.
Take a run up the beach, or he's gonna change boards.
Here
he's
he
gonna
goes.
go to the keyhole. I mean, what are we looking at there, BL? Like that wave didn't have any ripple, didn't have any of that low tide current. It just looked beautiful. It was clean. He had that great flow, those extended bottom turns. Yes, he may have
given the turns a little more here and there.
But I think he wanted to make that wave and put the screws in.
And that one had to count, and it had to be better than that 5.4.
That wave. It's got to be 2 points better than that.
Yeah. You're going 7s?
I think it's going to be high 6, low 7.
I like it. Commitment. Commitment. I want to see the replay. I do. I felt like that first turn it threw a lot of spray and it got me on board. There was no time where it was like he had to think about a tube.
No,
it was all turns. So it made the read on the wave easier that way, because there wasn't anything you had to think about. Do I get tubed here? Because if you get that opportunity to get barreled, you're going to take it every time. The judges love it, and it's the best feeling in the sport. As Kelly starts running up the beach,
I hope he's been training.
He's been going left in Indo mostly, hasn't he? Here we go. Callum Robson up again. He's in second priority. And this is the sort of wave you can get in a heat when you're actually in third priority, because the other 2 surfers have got it. Look at Jefferies Bay. Just the most beautiful right-hand point break. There's this romantic element to it as he just hits that inside. Better wave.
And a very nicely paced wave.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they've been. One of the things I heard Luke Egan talk about earlier was, a lot of people, they're so worried about not making the wave at Jbay that they actually oversurf it and get in front of it instead of actually just waiting for it and being right in the power source, And I think that Callum's wave right there was, he just surfed it to what it was.
Yeah.
Didn't overthink it. Yeah. It was just right in front of him, and not a big wave, but like you said, one of those nice, inside ones outside of priority.
And look at this contest set up there, beautiful. Here we go. And Kelly did the same. He didn't oversurf this in any way. Drives off the bottom, lays that beautiful layback snap. I love that turn. Holds the bottom turn beautifully to time that snap there. Gives it a moment, a little bit of pumping, driving off the bottom. That was the one that kind of let me down a little bit. I felt like there was room for more in that.
Nice.
That was beautiful. Nice. It's that little tweak at the end of the turns and that beautiful finishing turn.
I like that wave.
Yeah, I'm going 7+ for sure. Yeah. There's the judges' score, actually, a 7.33. You were spot on, brother.
I need a job, judges.
You're going to go and win jaws. Here we go. There's that one where it kind of got a little, he lost the rail mid-turn, and of all the turns to pick to slow-mo, that might have been the worst one.
But he just, if you're talking about flow, it didn't miss a beat, but it was out of every top turn, he was into that long, drawn-out bottom turn, and just beautiful, generational Kelly Slater arc like that we're so used to seeing for the last 30 years.
He's been doing it for so long. A 7.33 to go with the 4.93.
And if you look at the highest scores, he's right up there with Felipe and all the top guys today. You know, Griffin. You know, so you know what he just done then is right there with the top guys.
How good was that control too? You see those little body talks that he had and control he had on that last turn to make that was so technical, so subtle, and the reason why we've been just fascinated by this guy for so long, and I suppose everybody tries to figure out how and why he is so good. What's going on here?
I'd love to know. Obviously he's riding a thruster, but is it a Dan? I think it's a Mankind board. I'd love to know the dimensions, what he's riding, because let's just
cross down to Luke Egan right now and say, hey Luke, what's he riding, mate?
Yeah. What would you guess, BL? What's he riding out there?
Well, see, Kelly, he likes to go short, doesn't he? He likes that 5.9 kind of range, and he's hoping. But I would hope that it was a 6.0. You know what I mean?
It's looking like a 6.0 or a 6.1.
That's my feel. Is that in these waves today, that would be.
Barron looks like he's riding like a 5.11. Like that's when you just look at. As we see, just incredible. As you see,
Yeah, it was. And when you talk about priority, this priority now with 10.5 minutes on the clock for Barron Mamiya is a super important priority. He's got to bank this one, because if this wave he gets to the end and doesn't improve on his scores, he's got to paddle all the way back out. He may not get another wave, or he may only get one other chance. And at this point in time with the 7.33, the 5.4 matches the 4.9. They're in a similar space. He needs a 7.5 to get himself in this heat. So super important priority right now for Barron Mamiya.
You basically got 10 minutes to go as we see Barron Mamiya up and riding.
And an inside one standing, you can see the white water from the wave before it, but here it starts to stand up. He needs to get radical. He did attempt to get radical. He knew that wave almost looked subpar. I don't know that was the priority wave he had been waiting for, but I suppose the first wave of the set had come through. He didn't get that. He was going that wave sort of felt like it was at the end of the set. Yeah, because look, there's nothing there now.
Yeah, I think that was a bad wave choice on Barron's point. And you got to think 10 minutes to go. If you get a long wave, you got to think it's a 5-minute turnaround. Totally. By the time you paddle, surf down the point, as we see someone on the inside,
Jackson Baker. Newcastle's own Jackson Baker with the Peter Townend pink board there. Peter Townend, the 1976 world champion, made pink boards famous. And Jacko he's a great young surfer, great young man, and really has scared some people on the tour this year. And this wave suits him down to the ground as he finishes up on the inside. Nice re-entry. Is there one more in it? Critical one down the inside.
Oh.
Does he make it? No. Good starter, though. Callum as well. Barron Mamiya, the priority now, look at it, with Kelly Slater. So the 7.33, Barron Mamiya, these are the sort of mistakes where you've got that priority, 10 minutes to go, super critical moment in the heat. You've got to turn that priority into a score. You find yourself out of position. You don't get the best waves in the set. You catch one because you just feel like you've got to, and then you over-surf it to try and catch up. You come unstuck. Kelly's out the back. Priority. He's got priority. Yeah. He's going to improve on the 4.93 if he plays his cards right now. And this moment in time, if he plays his cards right now, he could, as we see,
paddle battle with the vest in his.
He's got his jersey in his mouth. The wave must have ripped it off his back.
Oh, I love a good paddle battle. Go boys!
It's a long paddle battle at Jbay too.
Oh, look at these guys.
Oh, it looks like Callum's just kind of gone, okay, turbo time. Jamie Mitchell turbo time, and.
Good to see two young, it's good to see the Aussies come together this year. It seemed like they've all banded together, Conor O'Leary, and they're just supporting each other and really, like, they've done what Brazil have essentially done in the past. Maybe Brazil's changed a bit now because they're all going for world titles and it's a little bit separated. But back in that day, like they were all like...
Well, and even still, they all stay around watching these other heats. They never leave the beach. They stay there all day. Jacko's given up in the paddle battle, decided it was time to put the jersey on. Callum put that pressure on, didn't he? And he kind of was behind in that paddle, and then he sort of upped the stroke rate and just overtook him, and it was time for Jackson to put on the jersey, as we see a replay of Jackson Baker carves out of the top, a little catch at the back end of that turn. Another nice re-entry there. And he's way deep, and you think he's too deep, but it puts him in the perfect spot for that one.
Yeah, just a little bit of a froth monster wave there as well. But again, you're looking at, these are those, 3s and 4s that you're probably hoping they're going to throw away. But, good to warm up, good to get your feet in the wax, as they say. I mean, still very well surfed wave, and then... commitment at the highest level at the end there. Under the bricks, as we see Callum up as a replay.
Oh, look, pumping, driving, so much energy. And it's interesting when you see this wave, the energy is clearly up. And if he had this wave, that energy on the first wave, perhaps. So it's interesting, you need to be at your best all the time. And if you miss those opportunities, it's in these moments too where you just need to keep making it look good. Don't let the judges think you're not enjoying it. Don't let them buy into the downtime, because they hate the downtime. We've seen that over the years. And Kelly Slater sitting on the priority, 6 minutes to go. He's got the 7.33, and this next one with a good score there could be good night for Barron. Yeah,
just that, when we were talking about there, just his psyche of what he was. That's just the experience. He knew. He knew the time. He knew what he had. He knew that he had to pick a good wave with priority and surf it really well, and he just ticked all those boxes. And then, Barron made a mistake, and just accentuates the problem for him now. Kelly's going to sit with priority, and Barron's probably going to have one chance, to get the 6.87. But then Kelly's going to get a chance to improve on that, 4.93. So,
and you would figure that Barron's at the one wave time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's at the one wave,
and he needs 2.
Yeah.
Kelly needs 1. So it's kind of advantage Kelly Slater for sure at this point in time, and it's been a managed, controlled kind of performance. Good wave selection.
Built into it, didn't he? Took those small ones, like a few little skips and wobbles here and there, but as we see, the GOAT.
I was about to say no skip and wobble but there was.
Talk him up.
That was an important there. Priority to Barron Mamiya, right? So there's this opportunity now where Kelly didn't capitalise. Kelly needs a wave. Barron, the 5.54 still matches the 4.9. So Barron only needs 1. If Kelly had got a better score than that 4.93 here and put the pressure on and completed that ride, could have been over. But now there's a door open for Barron Mamiya. He's got the priority. He needs a score. Let's have a look. He needs a 6.87. Do that in his sleep.
Yeah.
So
Kelly just left the door right open there.
Right open. And these are the little mistakes we've been seeing from Kelly Slater over the years. And it's not to compare myself in any way, but I gave up competing because I wasn't there 100%. I wasn't competing 100%. I was half there and half at home with my kids and whatever else I was doing. And so I was like, if I'm not doing it 100%, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say, into this event, Kelly being in Indo, he arrives at the last minute. He kind of hasn't... It's like he can do this level of performance kind of part-time almost, in that way.
I feel like that's what he is doing. He's picking and choosing the events that he thinks. And obviously, if the forecast had looked horrible here, I very much doubt that you would have seen him at Jbay. But
that back injury might have flared up
because of the forecast. I think like we spoke about, and as we've seen, his surfing is on par with the top guys of the morning so far. So that he can do it.
Yeah.
When he's mentally there and the surf is good and he's just completely there. That he's in the game.
Yeah. Absolutely, and with 3 minutes to go, he's still in the lead. Barron Mamiya is looks like there's some sets coming. He needs an opportunity here, and the 6.87, a 7-point ride, basically he needs. So something that matches Kelly's 7.33, totally possible. Just need Mother Nature to contribute and give you that chance.
But as we know, Kelly has a innate sense with Mother Nature, it's
Whew.
probably going to go flat.
So connected to himself, to nature, to the feelings that create success. But these little mistakes like the one we just saw are the things that we've seen creep in while he has been in that sort of
Half in, half out.
Yeah, half in, half out type of thing. And it's still good enough to, to win pipelines and to create history. And I suppose every heat he surfs is history. We don't know if we'll ever see him surf again in a heat, quite literally. So we kind of are here to celebrate him and celebrate the incredible performances that he has given us over all those years.
And I mean, and look what he's doing now. He's surfing a 21-year-old kid in his absolute prime.
Yeah.
And Kelly is, 53-ish, I think. Is he 52, 53? And I mean, it just goes to show you, man. Like, and he's not, as I know, with injuries, you're never 100% now. There's always something, you're waking up at Jbay, guarantee you the foot injury and the back is a little stiff.
In the cold.
It's just, you're just not like a 21-year-old where you can just get hit by a truck and just keep going, and he's out there and he's showing that he can still do it, and it's that's celebrating the GOAT. It's incredible, man.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
Just got autopilot on lock. Amazing waves here. Look at the lines outside. So we've got 1 minute. 1 minute and 7 seconds on the clock. I can see some lines out there. He may get a chance, Barron Mamiya. And when you're in this position, I would rather it come in with 10 seconds to go, me block Kelly to that point, me get that wave.
And you get the chance.
Yeah, and you get the chance, and Kelly doesn't.
Doesn't get a chance.
Because Kelly's in that box seat right now. If he gets a chance as well, and the set arrives in time for them both to get a wave, then you got to back Kelly. But at this point in time, with the 5-4 better than the 4-9.
And that's the awesome mental part of this, is that you got to be thinking about all that stuff as well, and then you've actually got to stand up and perform.
Yes.
Like
disengage that thinking strategic mind and all of a sudden be just present on a wave and create the dance that is Jefferies Bay. It's a beautiful thing.
I think Kelly's going to
20 seconds, it's a done deal. He's going to get it. The GOAT. Amazing stuff from Kelly Slater. 10 seconds to go. Generally the performance, out of 10?
I think he'll be happy with it. I'm going to give it his score of his top wave, a 7.
7.33?
7.5. I mean, I think that...
I'm going to drag it down by that 4.93 and call it a 6, 6.5 as an overall performance out of 10. Good enough to win on the day. There's the results. 7.33 and the 4.93 beating the 5.4 and the 3.83. And really, I suppose, inexperience versus experience on display in Kelly Slater, knowing what to do and when to do it, as we see him driving off the bottom here. Let's enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen.
Seen that a million times.
Look at the spray, the technique and the style of one of the very best.
Yeah, I just think that too, you just, giving it that 7.5, I think that he's going to build off that. Like he's at this stage of his career, he's going to feed off like the feeling of, and the board looked pretty good. He's going to go in and probably dissect that, and he's going to feel good about himself, and the waves are going to be good. So you might see Kelly just building and building and building, and maybe he'll have another special performance like Pipeline.
That'd be great to see. We love it's history every time he surfs. No one's ever done what he's doing, and we both sit here in awe. I sit here in awe of this man, and we spend nearly every single day together, and great influence on me to have someone of his level to just be around. And Kelly Slater has been that for all of us as surfers for so long now. I hope you guys enjoyed us just tuning in and having a quick chat. Sorry we weren't able to pay too much attention to the comments. I see James Billing there. How are you, mate, from the northern beaches of Sydney? PK, thank you guys, mate. We really appreciate all that you do for us, PK, and looking forward to the Pipeline podcast when that comes out and working with you further. Looking forward to both of us being able to get over our injuries, shoulder surgery, fractured wrist, broken back at Nazaré in the tow event when he pulled in at the last minute. What did you need? 7?
Needed 7.
Needed 7. Thought he had to pull into a barrel and the thing crunched him and broke his back. So He's recovering. We're both recovering well. We'll be back for winter, and I think we'll do this again, eh?
I think so.
I think we have to. It's kind of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'd like to do one at pumping Chopu.
Oh, yeah.
With the goat as well.
There you go,
that'd
mate.
be fun.
Yeah. So big thank you to all you guys for joining in and joining us live here. It's been amazing to get the support and the encouragement from you guys to do something like this, and this really was an experiment. And I feel like we might have passed. We might give ourselves a 6.5 for the heat as well. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll keep you posted as to when we may do more of this. And I'm sure as this event progresses, we'll get the opportunity we'll see some heats in that draw that we'll love to do. We'll let you guys know, and we'll tune in and share what we see with you again. Love yous, and thank you so much. Have a good night. You.